My name is Erica Lorraine Spencer, and I remain subject to state surveillance and terrorism by the state of California that is operating a malicious targeting system, which is referred to as federal group stalking and monitoring via communication devices. And it is in violation of federal stalking statute 18 U.S.C. sections 2261A subsections 1 and 2. My website and podcast serve the public good by publishing evidence of the public entity's ceaseless engagement in a pattern of conduct intended to stalk and monitor via communication devices, surveil, harass, and terrorize an American citizen in concert with the people of the state of California. Documentation serves the lawful purposes of wide exposure, federal prosecution, and influencing federal legislation with policies specifically designed to punish, dismantle, and disincentivize an unprecedented targeting system by a public entity that acts in concert with the people of the state in order to criminally place under surveillance and terrorize an American citizen, which is a matter of public corruption in the state of California. Erica Lorraine Spencer here. The following is an audio version of video evidence that is captured for purposes of mass distribution, which is why I am capturing it and sharing it on the podcast for evidentiary purposes and also to reveal the wealth of documentation that extends beyond what it is that I document on podcasts. Much of the video and images will be published onto the YouTube channel, the P.O.C, and it is also shared on the Google Drive. Again, this is for purposes of revealing what I remain subject to, which is federal group stalking and monitoring. It is a demonic system of state surveillance that the government is practicing in concert with the people of the state, and it should be known and well understood that for the government to engage in federal group stalking and monitoring, this is a crime that is committed with a criminal purpose to threaten the life of an American citizen. This is to conspire to murder and or permanently kidnap an American citizen while engaging in a perpetual sex offense in concert with the people of the state. It is 1:06 p.m. Here's the fake sun moving over me as I move away from the apartment and walk back toward the apartment. All right, this is called Stalking with the Fake Sun. We're RGS. They're pacing. They're monitoring a woman in an apartment, engaging in a sex offense with the hitman inside of Unit 51. This is P.O.C. 8Y07171. RGS is going to be civilly and criminally prosecuted, and their employees are demon-possessed gang-stalking men who are going to prison. Okay, and gang stalking with the demon that comes onto the grounds to monitor 8VOP671 is engaging in the pattern of conduct under the fake sun with the residents coming out of Unit 50. It's called activity creation. Picking up a demon-possessed gang stalker is why they're going to prison until you already know are gang stalking and adding evidence against them. Prison 8VOP671. They're going to federal prison. That's P.O.C. That was Ontario Police, in case you didn't see that. And that's the fake sun over me. And you already know where the fake sun is, or at this venue at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. This is not the natural weather. This is where the fake sun is at over me at 8 o'clock when I walk to this same parking lot, and these same demons are here under the fake sun. Living in relevant position is federal prison. Okay, they're over 55, engaging in sexual violence, psychological torture, and doing so stalking by going into the gym. That's RGS that's going to prison. This is P.O.C. and it is currently 1:07 p.m. Or you already know it. February 28, 2025, the fake sun is rising at 7:26 a.m. You already know at 8:56 a.m. the demons in Unit 41 are pacing while wearing AVANATH Capital Management employees and their whole family gang stalking. You already know that after 3 p.m. the fake sun is still over here while this same demon in Unit 41 is pacing gang stalking in plain sight with the Ontario Police and the Ontario International Airport. This is the prosecution of RGS, the prosecution of AVANATH, the federal imprisonment of all those living in units 33 through 64 who are monitoring right now, who are gang stalking by residents and employment, all right, and coming onto the grounds to share in that. So understand commercially, RGS, AVANATH, gang stalkers 8VOP671, gang stalking with the venue with impunity. Okay, these are the likes, again, if they're not, any of them are immigrants, they're going to be deported. This is license 9CZC059, gang stalking with his family and children under the fake sun that you know is still here after 2-3 o'clock. All right, in doing so while they know that they're being documented, and covering up the fake sun under the clouds is nothing but malice. These demons are going to prison. Amplifying the noise of what they want to be doing quietly now, but it's us interfering sleep and being heard through headphones while they're monitoring a woman in an apartment because they're demon possessed and they know exactly what I'm doing on the inside of the apartment. And you know that because the fake sun is here. All right, this is P.O.C. It's currently 2:44 p.m. Excuse me, it's this video is 2 minutes and 49 seconds. The time is 1:09 p.m. All right, the Ontario Police gang stalking by helicopter relevant positioning is why they're all going to prison. They're all going to prison, and it's impunity by all of them who are indeed going to federal prison. Going inside of the gym is relevant positioning. Walking on the sidewalk as I walk outside of the apartment is relevant positioning. Being in the parking lot 8 VOP 671 as I aim the camera outside of the patio glass door is relevant positioning by demons who are maintaining the elements of monitoring together. All right, and the entity is doing so where the fake sun rises and sets, and then you're reminded about what the entity is doing in Los Angeles and conforming to the same POC with LAPD. POC. This is impunity. They're going to prison, and you're deporting them. This is impunity. Right in front of your face. They're getting deported. 8 VOP 671 light activity, audible activity, POC, and the entity is doing so while AVANATH Capital Management is being prosecuted for all of this is criminal facilitation of a sex offense in violation of the Violence Against Women Act. 8 VOP 671 is going to prison. Don't forget that. They're all going to prison. AVANATH employees and residents going to prison. That third party is going to prison. POC. It is 1:10 p.m. All right, and the entity gang stalking by the Ontario Police is speaking to facilitation by the government that is engaged in surveillance, crossing path on this video. Very foolish evidence provided against itself. POC, 1:10 p.m. What was that? What was that? Nothing? Okay. All right, so you're going to see the images that was captured moments ago while the fake sun is outside and engineer light is piercing through the peephole. You'll see that moments ago. The rapid changing of the environment is not the natural environment. It's malice of demons that are monitoring the evidence presented against them while the prosecution is underway. They're all going to prison. You will see the engineer light piercing through the peephole onto the kitchen wall. You will see concentrated light across the ceiling and down the wall. And this is, again, less than 5 minutes ago. It's 1:10 p.m. I took those pictures, then I stepped outside to get everybody that was gang stalking. While you will see underneath the patio, engineer light under all of this, an impossible occurrence, and it's also impossible while the entity is rising and setting the fake sun over me in Los Angeles, which is the pattern of conduct that LAPD were engaging in, that you see Ontario PD engaging gang stalking with the people of the state who are going to prison on the state's behalf. A bunch of mentally ill sex offenders and predators. All right, gang stalking with the government, then you're going to federal prison because that's where those government actors are going. That demon gang stalking in helicopter is going to prison. It's 1:11 p.m. This is documentation of impunity and malice and obstruction of justice, while psychological torture during the commission of an ongoing perpetual sex offense by a public entity. 8 VOP 671 is going to prison. Do not forget that. They're going to prison. POC. Alrighty, this is the rapidly changing environment. That is, again, the specific environment where an entity is stalking with the fakes. In the video that I just captured, you've seen the fake sun right over the same parking lot at 8 o'clock in the morning when I document the gang stalkers in the morning. It's 1 o'clock in the afternoon, daylight savings time or not. You're never reconciling the duration of time, speaking to stalking by a population and a government, and you're never reconciling the fake sun in this same manner over me in Los Angeles while I am literally at the same time, same day, same duration of time, where the entity is engaging. What is the hallmark that you saw in the previous video? Gang stalking by helicopter. That's, again, the removal of Paul Leon, the removal of the police department, very heavily documented and very hostile regarding another kidnapping that I will be publishing on the internet. Kidnapping that this entity is participating in while they're gang stalking with that state. Okay, they're still acting in furtherance of kidnapping and murder, and while they do so on a daily basis on yet another day under the fake sun on behalf of the state, they're going to prison for it. Okay, and the fake sun appearing and disappearing under clouds is real-time demonic activity. It's not the natural environment. It's not a natural environment where the fake sun is over your apartment building all day long either. So these are the demons who are very highly malicious and severely mentally ill. All these mental health patients are going to prison and mental asylums for the federal prosecution of the state of California, where they're residing and engaging in what is commercial means of federal group stalking and monitoring. And all these license plates will be also dictated. This is going on the podcast as well. All right, pay attention to what I will be publishing on the website for the POC. The website is thisisthepoc.wordpress.com, and the entity that is monitoring now and is hostile now and their mental illness causes them, it inspires their very foolish conduct of psychologically targeting and gang stalking somebody who's prosecuting them simultaneously. And what you will pay attention to is the evidence that I am going to be publishing online. It's already published, but I'm going to put it in a framework where you can understand the context and the criminal pattern of conduct where the entity is kidnapping. The same entity that was gang stalking in helicopter under this fake sun, that is not the natural environment providing any sun over Alvarado Gardens. no sun over that apartment complex or over LAPD while they're gang stalking me on a daily basis in Los Angeles. The entity is doing so because they're hostile. Well, I would be publishing the evidence, putting all of them in prison, because they're gang stalking with the same entity that committed multiple kidnappings, and they're still doing that to date. Using the vehicles as light in the path. These are the mentally ill. RGS is being civilly criminally prosecuted, and they're stalking under the Violence Against Women Act, and they're doing so with impunity, and they're sex offenders keeping a woman under surveillance in an apartment. They're also obsessed with my genitalia, because in the apartment when my genitalia is exposed, they're also monitoring them. Okay? And they're a part of a population that's maintaining presence under an enduring fake sun, where you already know it's still here, while the demons in Unit 41 have their kids pacing all around me like RGS is pacing around at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. It's still here. They're going to prison. It's, again, 1:21 p.m. This is the entity that is engaging in what is, you are aware of, demonic activity, because this is not the natural environment, and that's all monitoring elements underway. P.O.C. This is the direction of the engineer light, and this is the same window where after 5 p.m. this fake sun that is here in front of the same window is piercing through the crevice in between, through closed blinds, under window coverings, and the fake sun is blaring through at 5:17 p.m. like you saw in video. And in images, and this is where the entity is gang stalking as a population, and the commercial means represents AVANATH and RGS. In doing so, again, when you are aware of the fake sun being right here in perfect alignment with me, where a population is gang stalking and they're engaging in what is the outward demonstration of demon possession, which is also relevant to the domestic terrorism that the state of California is practicing while they are engaged in the satanic targeting system of federal group stalking and monitoring. None of that is sunlight. This is engineered light. It's also not sunlight while it pierces through the peephole inside of this apartment and appears on the kitchen wall. Pay attention to the images captured at 1:03. 1:02, 1:01 p.m. and I am capturing video immediately following, and this is, again, not weather. This is demonic. Okay, this is the pattern of conduct. However, it's 1:22 p.m. Everyone in units 33 through 64 are going to prison. Everyone employed by AVANATH Capital Management at this venue is going to federal prison. The demon gang stalking in the helicopter representing the to be disbanded Ontario police are going to be, that demon's going to prison, and the entity is going to be disbanded. And I will be publishing what the demons are currently furious about is the additional kidnapping that I have of record to publish, not only to publicly shame the public corruption, but also to prosecute them. Okay, these are kidnappers. You're not only kidnapping because you put your handcuffs on me and kidnapped me and took me from one place to another while you're a gang stalking police department and an entity engaged in criminal summoning. You're also kidnapping while you're gang stalking with that entity, sharing in the elements, monitoring me while a kidnapping is in progress. These are all kidnappings that have already been committed, and they're still gang stalking me as an entity. They're going to prison. It's 1:23 p.m. This is P.O.C. It is currently 1:26 p.m. and you just listened to the two videos, which are items of evidence regarding federal group stalking monitoring that is underway ceaselessly at Woodside Senior Apartments in Ontario, California, and the specific environment is directly speaking to that and proving it. It is also speaking to real-time demonic activity, which is relevant to the terrorism that the state of California is employing and is executing and targeting an American citizen with the intent to criminally defame them, the intent to kidnap and murder them. All right, it's relevant to psychological torture, and this environment is also that which defies nature, speaking to the demon possession of those who are engaging in what are elements of monitoring in that environment, and not coincidentally adding to how you are monitoring in that environment the fake sun that's over this same exact apartment complex, as I documented, the same defendants, AVANATH Capital Management and RGS, at 7:26 in the morning on February 28, 2025. It is, I want to be clear, March 12th, 2025. So that was days ago when I've documented at this same venue, even the same defendants of RGS who are not engaging in any lawful conduct. They're not engaging in also landscaping. That's what demons, that's what Satan wants you to focus on in the natural. And you're going to focus on that in the natural. Because in federal court, they're going to be federally prosecuted for federal group stalking monitoring via commercial means. And it's criminal presence, and an admitted and obvious one, while you are on the grounds under any circumstances, and doing so with impunity. That's how and why you're going to reference what they are doing in plain sight, which is conspicuous stalking, a very serious means of malice and impunity amongst what is federal stalking, while the entity is engaging in the elements of monitoring and doing so in a very plain manner. So the entity that is engaging in what is conspicuous stalking via landscaping at the venue is going to federal prison, as you can clearly see on February 28, 2025, in the video evidence that is captured at 7:26 a.m. And then you will see the fake sun over me at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. Let's just count together before and after daylight savings time. That is not the natural environment, nor can there ever be in the natural environment more than one sun that would provide for 3 hours ahead of us. The sun being in Florida, like I like to always readily, and I say it so frequently because you need to keep that in mind, while a bunch of demons are stalking under a fake sun. That is also over you, wherever you are. The entity is maintaining this light source. Let's see, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. That would be 6 hours later. And during daylight savings time, which would have been February 28th, so we can say even if we shoot our clocks ahead, that would have been 8:26, 9, 10, 11, 12. That would have been 5 hours. You're talking about what is under no circumstances reconcilable. It's also not reconcilable when the sun is rising, not just rising, but it's also remaining over me, remaining over the top of my head, while I'm subject to gang stalking by demons using helicopters in concert with a population in Los Angeles at Alvarado Gardens, and also setting in alignment till the end of my workday as I walk outside of my office, and the entity is gang stalking in this same environment, which defies nature, which is relevant to the intent to psychologically harm, while they're gang stalking as a bunch of demons who are also aware of the fact that their demon possession is being proven and is relevant to their prosecution, while they are stalking as a population that have an identical condition. And that's speaking of malice. The entity is doing so while you're not looking at the operation of weather. It's not a cloudy day. You're looking at demonic activity. And that's also what I'm pointing out in the video that you heard. You will look at the evidence that's in chronological order. Inside of the apartment, the engineer light concentrated through the peephole, appearing on the kitchen wall, rainbow colors magnified through a peephole is not sunlight. And it's also not sunlight that landscaping is occurring under. It's also not sunlight that people are residing in apartments in. They are gang stalking as a population, and license 8 VOP 671 is going to federal prison for it. She is stalking in the path with regard to coming into my line of vision with simultaneity to my accessing what is the patio glass doors. And as I get to that position, which the demon possessed are aware of, and you know what they are aware of because of the fake sun and the engineered light conduct, which defies nature. Okay, these are also people whose behavior defies nature, and it's not an ongoing perpetual coincidence. These are demons who are monitoring, and it's the commission of a sex offense in 8 VOP 671, whether she's over 55 years old or not. She's going to federal prison. She's gang stalking with the very corrupt and highly incriminating agency, not just the Los Angeles PD, because they're one entity, but it's the Ontario Police Department. And that's what's captured on video. And the entity is also gang stalking through the entity that is maintaining presence by residents at the apartment complex, gang stalking in apartments like you hear in the background, doing so while inside of the apartment, all manner of engineered light, speaking to a demon whose name you know, who you may be blood related to, who is conspiring to murder and steal from you and falsely depict your character while they actually want to be you. This is speaking to mental health patients who are walking around without any criminal records, no warning for the public to be able to identify them, know what they are capable of, know what they have already committed against another, while they are engaging in this pattern of conduct. And that's the threat that the people of the state of California poses as a national security threat that is engaged in federal group stalking, gang stalking. Okay, and so that's the significance of being in the apartment like you hear in the background. It's monitoring systematically underway, and a whole bunch of psychopaths are inside of their apartments monitoring, and outside of the apartment monitoring with that. Okay, so they're pacing around, not in sunlight. They're pacing around on foot and in vehicles and in aircrafts, like the Ontario Police reveal in the video, monitoring me. And that is not a compliment when the demon possessed are focused on you, are targeting you. There are also sex offenders that are obsessed and are worshiping your genitalia. And if you're not on OnlyFans and you're not into that sort of attention, certainly not for free, then that's something that you also would not find to be welcoming. And I want to be clear, because that's not to state that people that are on OnlyFans welcome gang stalking or welcome that sort of predatory and perverted aspect to attention that you would ordinarily welcome if you are on OnlyFans. So I don't want to liken the two because you may be on OnlyFans, which you have a constitutional right to be engaged in and making money, whatever your business is. But that's not mine. But I want to be clear, that does not mean that you're welcoming the predators who are engaged in gang stalking and worshiping your genitalia. Okay, and gang stalking you while they worship your genitalia in places like bathrooms where helicopters have have no legitimate purpose in being used in surveillance to engage in that. And that's what the Ontario Police on yet another day are admitting to, while the evidence, not coincidentally, is underway regarding the supernatural, and they just happen to be crossing path in helicopter. Those are the same demons that are monitoring what I'm doing, surveilling what I'm doing on my devices amongst the supernatural environment, because the mentally ill demons who are going to be disbanded are hostile to yet another kidnapping that they chose to commit, and they were told years before that they're going to federal prison and they're going to mental asylums and they're going to prison the people of the state who were gang stalking with them. I'm going to be publishing this kidnapping that has already been committed and this act of criminal summoning, criminal defamation by this same entity. And this is speaking to what, again, I was subject to before I started capturing pictures and video, which is putting everybody in prison in units 33 through 64. The same family of demons in unit 41 exhibiting impunity, not having any constitutionally protected right because he's not engaged in his job walking out of his apartment. He's engaged in gang stalking, conspicuous stalking, intended to harass, terrorize, and psychologically torture on behalf of the state while he walks outside of his apartment, unit 41, like he does with his family, with the children, under a fake sun. Hours from now at 2:41 p.m., the fake sun is still here, and their shadows are appearing inside of this same living room. When you're hearing a demon walk inside of the kitchen and turn on the faucet and make all that's activity amongst engineer light. This is monitoring, this is surveillance, this is stalking amongst a population who exhibit severe mental instability. Okay. While I am documenting this, I want to be clear, the entity is keeping the fake sun over me in Los Angeles, which is what I've documented. And while it's remaining over me at apartment 51, over the top of my head, as I both walk toward Vine Avenue and back toward apartment 51, while there's a whole body of evidence of an entity rising, maintaining all day long, and then setting a necessarily fake sun over me in Los Angeles, while I am during daylight savings time documenting the entity keeping a fake sun over me while I am at places at 1 o'clock in the afternoon, like the San Diego Police Department at 1401 Broadway, where there is never any sunlight, or anybody at Woodside Senior Apartments or at Alvarado Gardens are under what is the natural environment, speaking to the malice whereby a population, that is the state of California, is engaged in the satanic targeting system. All right, and this is the evidence that you're going to be mindful of while I'm speaking to the entity keeping the fake sun that's getting brighter and dimmer in real time, speaking to impossible light, speaking to what is stalking by a population in an apartment. These are sex offenders who represent an entire population in California that is practicing a targeting system in furtherance of murder, kidnapping, and with regard to the ongoing context, the motivation here, besides mental illness brought on by demon possession, it is theft of property that belongs to me. Okay, this is what the entity is inspired by, and the entity is going to federal prison. So I want to be clear, the entity in units 33 through 64, they're going to prison. The entity with license plate 8 VOP 671, she is going to federal prison. She is gang stalking on video and in images. It's criminal presence, creating light activity. It's criminal activity creation in a specific environment that is designed to psychologically harm and monitor, which is stalking conspicuously on behalf of the government, who is also in video gang stalking with this third party license 8 VOP 671, and gang stalking with the third party that resides in unit number 50, crossing path and engaging in the elements of monitoring as well. This is what RGS is partaking in, where you've already seen the fake sun in the middle of the afternoon while they're engaging in conspicuous stalking. The sunrise, where RGS is engaged in conspicuous stalking, and I'm documenting at 1 o'clock in the afternoon where RGS is engaged in conspicuous stalking. License 8YOZ7171, that's RGS. License plate on a trailer attached to an RGS vehicle, license 4VZ3957, that's RGS. This is license plate 7N98091, that is RGS, gang stalking conspicuously, and license plate 04661D4, that is RGS, gang stalking conspicuously, and criminal facilitation by AVANATH Capital Management. Linda Reyes is going to federal prison. This is the threat to my life, while they are soliciting gang stalkers to come onto the grounds and target me with impunity and malice on behalf of the state, while conspicuously stalking via landscaping services at the specific environment. That's why she is going to federal prison and every other employee at the venue, and they are all sharing what is criminal engagement harassment and federal group stalking and monitoring, which is also shown through the juxtaposition of this crime scene with the crime scene that is in Los Angeles, where I am maintaining a body of evidence speaking to this same criminal system. And the entity was targeting me inside of this unit while I am wearing headphones and listening to content, where I'm walking outside amongst these demons, and there's nothing that's competing with the sound of my voice. And even if they are foolish enough to do that, which is activity creation while you're being prosecuted, impunity. But even so, while I'm walking outside amongst them, there's nothing that's so disruptive. But yet while I'm inside and I'm listening to content on headphones and I'm even asleep, and the activity is so loud, it's pure. Again, this is witchcraft. These are demons who are begging a federal prosecutor to present evidence against them, putting them in mental asylums and federal prison. That's the prize that you win when you're gang stalking the one who was reporting you to the feds. Okay? The entity is doing so with noted impunity and is doing so with regard to my ongoing documentation that is placing all of them in what are facilities where they belong. It is. So I want to make sure that that's clear. Again, third party license 8 VOP 671. Please don't sit on that.
It's my cat.
The entity is doing so with impunity while you're listening to what is the means of monitoring me in real time as well. But this is while the fake sun is remaining over this apartment. This is a threat to the life, safety, physical well-being, and liberty of the target individual. This is the same entity engaged in a pattern of kidnapping as well. And this pattern of defying federal law and the prosecution, that is also evidenced through the stalking with impossible light, the criminal interference with quiet enjoyment. All right. It is, you'll see these images documented at 1:02 p.m. And I step outside. The demon of license 8 VOP 671 is crossing path at 1:03 p.m. as I open the blind slats of the patio glass door, where you'll see impossible light underneath that structure. It defies nature. That's not the creation of sunlight. You already know that. This is the simultaneity of presence in my line of vision is stalking in the path while sex offenders are keeping you under surveillance in an apartment, and doing so with the hitman that resides in the unit that is pacing in real time, turning the lights on and off, using communication devices, pacing around, creating activity in the kitchen, speaking to, again, the cry for help. All right, this is indeed a cry for help regarding the severe mental instability of the entity that is gang stalking. But this cry for help is something that American citizens need to be made aware of because it's a threat to your life. It's a national security threat. All right, while they have a tendency with this cry for help, which I am speaking to, I'm exposing it, and they're also subject to a criminal prosecution because it's not any mental illness that's creating any defense under criminal law, under federal law. However, it is something that causes them to engage in things such as murder, theft, and kidnapping, and public corruption as an entity. So it's a very serious cry for help, and it's something that the federal government must respond to. It is the prosecution of the state of California. It's 1:40 p.m. The fake sun is remaining over this apartment, and it is engaged in what is shining and getting brighter. This is not weather. It's not a cloudy day. This is the demonic, and it's also terrorism. And AVANATH Capital Management is going to be prosecuted for it. It's while evidence is underway, so they're monitoring. It's analogous to using your hazards in the parking lot. While the demon possessed use their means of stalking with light, this is what's happening in the unnatural environment that's centered on me. What I do is I do it. And it's also analogous to turning lights on and off like the demons inside of their apartments and inside of this apartment are engaging in. And they're doing so while evidence is being captured. This is speaking to, again, the sentencing to federal prison and in mental asylums. All right, this is relevant to what is psychological torture. This is relevant to what is the mental illness. That is, this evidence is going to be used to diagnose the mentally ill who are gang stalking. This is evidence speaking to obstruction of justice, and it's also relevant to the prosecution under the Violence Against Women Act that the entire venue, including the company itself, AVANATH, and its employees are going to be prosecuted under. It is 1:41 p.m. This is P.O.C.
Look, Erica, this has all your experience. Look.